Good morning. Good morning, distinguished researchers, speakers, partners, colleagues, and representatives of partner organizations, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the British Council Thailand, it's my great pleasure welcoming you to the International Research Grant Proposal Writing Workshop for the pre-workshop seminar session titled Scale Up Your Research Project with an International Research Grant, Sharing Best Practice and Lesson Learned. We are delighted to have you here with us today as we begin this important conversation on strengthening international research collaboration and exploring opportunities for securing international research funding. My name is Justin Pitaya Tharathorn, ISPF Program Manager from the British Council Thailand. I'm delighted to be here this morning for this special event organized in partnership with the British Council and the Office of Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation of Thailand. This event is supported by UK International Science Partnership Fund, or ISPF, from the UK Department for Science, Innovation and Technology. Before we begin, there's a few important safety reminders for all attendees at Novotel on Siam Square. In the unlikely event of fire or emergency, please remain calm, stay alert, do not use the elevator. Leave the room as quickly as possible by following the hotel exit sign. There are 2 fire exit staircases located on the B1 floor. Kindly use the nearest fire exit staircase to evacuate the building and proceed to the assembly point located in the front of the hotel. The British Council may photograph, film participants during the event. We may use this photograph or video footage for the purpose of British Council internal and external promotional or public materials. If you do not wish to be photographed or filmed, please advise British Council staff at the registration point. Before we start this special seminar, to officially open today's event, may I invite Mr. Danny Whitehead, Country Director of British Council Thailand, to deliver his welcoming remark. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Justin. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this incredible workshop that we have lined up over the next 3 days. Dr. Pumpamsak Aruni, Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation, management and team from MHESI, distinguished speakers and friends from the University of Derby, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honour and a delight to be here today to launch this workshop, because from the British Council and from the UK government, we genuinely believe that cooperation and partnership in education, science and research is one of the most powerful tools we have for building trust and understanding between the UK and Thailand. And we genuinely believe that trust and understanding that comes through bringing our best and most talented scientists, academic and researchers, by bringing them together and building trust through jointly addressing global challenges, that will lead to peace and prosperity, which is for the benefit of both Thailand and the UK. And so I'm delighted to welcome you to the very first ISPF grant writing workshop. This workshop is organised by the British Council in Thailand, and it's funded by the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology from the UK. We run this in partnership with our friends from the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation. And we believe that ISPF is putting research and innovation right at the heart of international relations. And in Thailand, through the ISPF, we've been working with our friends in the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation and other bodies, other funding bodies and research bodies for more than 3 years to support these partnerships. We've so far provided grants to over 25 different programs, each program advancing the field of knowledge, delivering world-class research which is contributing to our ability to address global challenges like public health, climate change, and sustainable agriculture and energy. All those things fall within the 4 themes for ISPF around a resilient planet, healthy people, animals and plants, transformative technologies, and tomorrow's talent. And talking of tomorrow's talent, in addition to the grants that we've given, we've also supported 15 early career researchers in their efforts to build their own science and research expertise. Now, today's workshop around grant writing, it's part of the ISPF's aim to build capacity among scientists and researchers in the UK and around the world. And I'd like to say a huge thank you to our friends who've travelled all the way from the University of Derby for coming along and sharing your expertise and your invaluable experience with our friends from Thailand here in the room today. I'd also like to thank all the speakers who are joining us today for your contributions. And I'd like to thank my colleagues from the British Council for putting this together, and all our friends from the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation for all that you do in bringing together the UK and Thailand and strengthening the bilateral relationship through these partnerships. And last but not least, I want to thank all of you, the participants here today, for putting aside your time and your energy for this workshop. Thank you very much. Please keep driving forward these science and research and innovation partnerships, because through that, we'll bring together both our countries to deliver a better, safer, and more prosperous planet. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Danny, for the inspiring message. Also, this event would not be possible without the support from our partner, Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation. So I would like to invite Dr. Panpermsak Aruni, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation of Thailand, to deliver his welcoming remark. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Mr. Danny Whitehead, Country Director of British Council Thailand, the training team from the University of Derby, and speaker from both Thailand and UK, management, researcher, and academic from university and research institute across Thailand, ladies and gentlemen. The Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation is delighted to have worked with the British Council Thailand on this impactful science and research program, the International Science Partnership Fund, or ISPF, throughout the past 3 years. The work under the ISPF not only aims to tackle the global challenge that cannot be resolved by a single country, but also to strengthen the partnership between Thailand and the UK on higher education, science, research and innovation. For Thailand, science, research and innovation are critical focus area of the ministry because they are strategic part of our work to enable the higher education, research and institute to support the country's sustainable growth and development. The ISPF program Thailand ambition is science, research and innovation, and in the area critical to Thailand, including transformative technologies such as AI, EV, health, climate change, food science, and capacity building. It's a great pleasure to partner with the UK and the British Council in this area to promote the development of the country. I would like to thank the UK Department for Science, Innovation and Technology through the ISPF and also British Council for the event today, and for supporting researchers and academics in Thailand in capacity building, enhancing skill and international research grant proposal, writing and developing and expanding international partnership. I'm grateful to the training team from the University of Derby, UK, who have joined us to contribute this important topic to Thailand. I would like to thank all participants who have joined these 3 workshops from across the country. I wish you can enjoyable and successful workshop, and the Ministry is looking forward to working with the UK and the British Council in future initiatives to strengthen relationship between Thailand and the UK. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Dr. Pan Permsak from the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation. So may I also invite Danny to come up to the stage and take a picture with Dr. Pan Permsak. Okay. As we also have a lot of participants here today, would you mind standing here so we can take just down here? Oh, you can go around. Oh, thank you. Okay, so we take a picture with the participant a little bit. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Everybody smile. Say cheese. Thank you so much for the welcoming remark from both Mr. Danny and Dr. Pan Permsak. So I would like to welcome and introduce our panel of speakers. Mr. Shawit Uttamachai, Science and Innovation Advisor, British Embassy, Bangkok. Associate Professor Ratanachat Mongkol Nawin from the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation. Dr. Sholatit Thiratiti, Director of Education Organization Regional Center for Higher Education and Development. And also joining us online, Associate Professor Shai Siri Ankurawaranon from the Faculty of Medicine, Chiang Mai University. Next will be Dr. Elena Grief, Senior Lecturer in Marketing and DBA Program from the University of Derby. And moderating this session will be Ms. Oraiwan Samoli, Head of Education from British Council, Thailand.
Very good morning to all the participants to our workshop today. So this morning we're going to start with this opening session to give you the overview of the research grant opportunities and also science and technology priority, both from Thailand and the UK. And we have all the panelists to share with you all the very useful information. So to start this session, so I will invite our first speaker, Kun Shawit or Kun Bang Uttamachai from the British Embassy. So Kun Shawit is going to give us the overview and also the direction of the UK science and technology and also the research grant opportunity as well.
So good morning once again, everyone. My name is Shawit Uttamachai, or you can of course call me Bank. I am from the British Embassy, Bangkok, and my role is to look after UK and Thailand relationships on science and technology. So I am part of what we call the UK Science and Technology Network, or STN for short. Now, my role is to, when I say I look after UK-Thailand relationship on S&T, what that actually means is a combination of things. So I support the development of diplomatic relationships between the Thai government, in particular the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation, and of course the UK Department for Science, Innovation and Technology, or DSIT for short, as well as developing the partnerships between funding agencies between the UK and Thailand, and of course between universities to universities as well. Now, final slides for me on developing bids for UK funding. There are 6 things that I wanted to point out. First of all, as I've mentioned to you, funding sources from the UK is varied, and there are sources from different departments. You first need to understand where the source comes from, which departments come from, and what they're looking for. If you're applying for health research and you're developing bids for a different department, that are not related to health, then what's the point? You've also got to understand the scope of funding as well. Different funding will support different types of activities. Some of them are research grants. Some of them are fellowships for you to work in the UK for a few months to up to 2 years, or even there are grants that give you opportunity for you to relocate to the UK as well. There are different types, but again, you'll need to read carefully on what these types of support offers. There are also specific conditions that are tied to UK fundings as well. Based on my experience working with Thai researchers so far, There are concerns around developing, managing IPs, for instance. Make sure you discuss this well in advance before you apply. There are also concerns around due diligence, which may not be common in Thai institutions as well. If you want to partner with a certain university, do you actually have a mechanism to assess whether they're trustworthy or not? How will data be managed in terms of research data? How do you make sure that data is actually secured, for instance? Make sure you look into these conditions into the UK grants because some of these are not apparent in the Thai research systems. So if you're applying for UK grants, make sure you explore these within your ecosystems and institutions as well. Designing and communicating your project effectively. This is very clear because oftentimes researchers tend to think that reviewers will understand the full research proposal. But that is not always the case. There will, of course, so many experts that will review your bid. So make sure you write them in plain and simple language and not really technical language sometimes. Make sure you articulate your ideas very well. It could be, if you don't have word limitations, consider, for instance, including n numbers of samples, for instance. It really depends on the call and the scale of the budget of the program that you are intending to apply for. Forming the right team and building the ecosystem. And this is very important because, my slides disappeared. Well, forming the right team. If you want to partner with ASEAN community, if you want to partner with UK communities, make sure you think well on what their roles are. And it's not just about building partnerships with researchers, but also extend to wider stakeholders as well. Oftentimes, we are asking for you to tell us what the impact of researcher is and how do you intend to achieve that impact. If you are working with just research community, how do you ensure that your research will actually be translated? Will you engage different ministries or regulators, standards makers, or even the industries? Make sure you consider this well in advance. Be realistic. Oftentimes, calls in the UK can pop up for 1 to 2 months, and that's it. That's really it. So make sure you have some pre-developed idea right at the start. That's my own personal recommendations to you. Have some ideas right at the start. If you and your universities has the capability to form preliminary partnerships with UK university, that's great because timing will be limited sometime. You might ask me, so will there be an opportunity next year? I don't know. This doesn't come regularly. The funding doesn't come regularly because funding is approved on annual basis. So don't expect that if there's a call that you want to apply this year, don't expect that it will come next year. Be realistic. And if you want to apply it now and not wait for next year. And finally, guidance note is very important for you to review. Read them page by page. There are so many times that I'm not part of the review panel, by the way, but this is just what I've heard from different funding agencies, that we often hear researchers developing a full proposal and then submitting it, and then forgot to attach one document, a supporting letter from the university, and that whole proposal is discarded. So read carefully on what the guidance note says, what are the key eligibility requirements. Within the guidance note, there are oftentimes scoring criteria that will tell you what the proposals will also look for as well. So make sure you read these carefully and make sure you get it right on the first time. In some calls, there will be no second chances. Sorry, I end my presentation with a rather harsh note, but that's the situation that we're working. And I do hope you take this point critically in terms of developing your future bids into the UK funding. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Khun Chawit, Khun Bang, to share very insightful information and the policy and the direction of the UK. We have heard a lot on industrial strategy and also high technology are the priority of the UK as well. And the good news, there are quite a lot of opportunities for the funding, for the research grant funding. So we will make sure we will share your slide with all the participants because there are a lot of information on that. So thank you very much, Khun Bang. So that's the overview, that's the perspective from the UK. So now we will move back to Thailand, and we will hear from the expert from Thailand on the direction and policy and the strategy from Thailand. So today we have Dr. Ratachat Mongkonnawin from the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation to share with us.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Kunuraiwan. Good morning, colleagues and administrator from Thailand universities, and also British Council, and also University of Derby. I guess that's our important guest today. We're going to be doing a workshop on how we can succeed to what Kun Bang was presenting. So today, I think for my presentation, it would be benefit from our British UK partner more than the Thai university, which I will also add at the end how we can actually be successful in applying grants to the UK opportunity that was presented earlier. So anyway, today I'll briefly introduce how Thailand is strengthening science, research and innovation through its higher education system under the leadership of Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation. So I'll divide it into 4 parts. We don't have a lot of time, but the key message will be on the policy priority of what we call MHESI as short for the ministry, and the role of research in Thailand's innovation-driven economy, government support mechanism for research and innovation, and finally the opportunity for international collaboration. So for the ministry policy, Thailand has adopted an integrated governance model that combines higher education, science, research and innovation into one ministry. This is the key of strengthening our research capability and also research utilization for betterment of the country. This integrated structure under the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation helps align university with national development goals. And 3 major policy priorities guide the system. They strengthening research capability in university, also promoting innovation and technology commercialization, expanding international research collaboration. The objective is to ensure that university contributes not only the education, but also knowledge creation, innovation, and economic competitiveness. Also, Thailand has built a national research ecosystem that connects university, research institutes, governments, agency, and industry. And the research funding and policy coordination are managed through national organizations such as Thai Research and Thai Science Research Innovation, or SOGOSOWO, and also National Research Council of Thailand, also other PMUs that was mentioned earlier. These organizations coordinate national research priority and allocated funds to university and research institutions across the country. These ecosystems help us ensure that research investment are aligned with national priorities and goals and global scientific trends. And the research supporting for the national development in Thai research university is increasingly linked to the national development strategy and sustainable growth. And the key research priorities areas include, which align completely with what you are presenting, the bioeconomy and sustainable agriculture, medical and health innovation, artificial intelligence and digital technologies, energy and environmental sustainability. So I think these are common problems now in the world that we are facing, and we hope to be able to tackle this together. By focusing on these areas, Thailand aims to transition towards a knowledge-based and innovation-driven economy. Universities therefore play a very important role, not only educational institution, but also as driver of innovation and technology development. For the funding mechanism, Thailand has developed a structured research funding system to support university and researcher. The National Research Funding System, coordinated by the Thailand Science, Research and Innovation, includes several key mechanisms. They have competitive research grants. They have mission-oriented national research programs. They have strategic research funding aligned with the national priorities. and collaborative research funding with industrial partner. I think each year we are being approved of the research budget of around 20 billion baht per year for the research developments. And this funding scheme encourages interdisciplinary research and collaboration between academia, industry, and the government. That's what we call like triple helix policy. So for the program management units, I think now we are transforming the isolated programming units into consolidated funding and management units, which is coming soon. I think we are waiting for the directors to be in action. But however, a unique features of Thailand research system is by that program management units or the PMUs. These units focus on specific strategic mission, for example, frontier research and advanced science. And also we have human capital development and talent mobility, innovation and industrial collaboration, and also the community development research funds. Through these mission-oriented programs, the government aims to support research that can generate both academic excellence and the real-world impact. And with the current situation, I think the new program management unit also included the defense research into their areas of highlighted research. So beyond the funding, ministry also supports science and innovation through several structured initiatives. And these include the National Research Laboratory and Infrastructure, university-based research park and innovation hubs, the science parks around the country. Also, we have technology transfer office and startup incubator, and international mobility programs for researcher and doctoral student through the Reinventing University, which I can touch later when we have time. So these initiatives help create support ecosystem that enable university to translate research discoveries into practical innovations. So to give you some example, Thailand has developed internationally recognized strengths in several research areas. For example, in the medical and health science, Thailand University are well known for research in tropical medicine, infectious diseases, and public health. In agriculture and food innovation, Thailand is also a global leader in research related to tropical agriculture, food security, and bioeconomy. Also in biodiversity and environmental science, Thailand's rich ecosystem provides unique opportunity for global scientific collaboration. And also in the digital and AI, many universities are now expanding their research in data science, artificial intelligence, and smart city technology. This is also one of the recent key policy of the ministry to have university include the teaching of AI in every single curriculum. These are areas create strong opportunity for international research partnerships. So for the international opportunity of collaboration, Thailand strongly welcomes international collaboration in science and research. That's why we're all here, right? 100 of us are here seeking for opportunity for research fundings from our UK partners. International partners can collaborate with Thai University through joint research programs, co-funding, international research grant, research and student mobility programs, joint laboratory and innovation partnerships, and such collaboration will help strengthen global research network and enable knowledge exchange across country and discipline. And I would say the benefit why a collaboration of Thai University is beneficial. Collaborating with Thai University offers several advantages. First, Thai provides strong regional research connectivity within the Southeast Asia. We have a good connection with all the Southeast Asian countries and university. We have AUN, which Professor Cholatit may elaborate a little bit more. And also the second, the Thai institution offer unique research environment, particularly in tropical science, biodiversity, and emerging health challenges. And also the thirdly, government policies strongly support the international collaboration, include joint research fundings and mobility programs. In Reinventing University, we invested in inviting visiting professor to each research university each year of around 100 plus positions for the universities. And also together these factors can create an attractive environment for long-term scientific partnerships. So finally, I think the time is catching up. I think it's a lot more information that we want to go through. So in closing, I would like to say Thailand believes that science and innovation thrive through international collaboration and shared knowledge. So the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation is committed to strengthening global partnership that connects Thai university with the leading institution around the world. Also the UK program with British Council has been running for some time, for a long time, and we've seen a very successful result as the outcome of our collaboration. And by combining the research strength in areas such as tropical medicine, biodiversity, food innovation, emerging digital technology, climate change, with these expertise of international partners, we can generate solutions to create that no single country can address alone, as mentioned by the Deputy Permanent Secretary. In an increasingly interconnected world, science, diplomacy, and research collaboration will be key driver for sustainable development. Through strategic funding, national research program, and strong international partnership, the Thai universities are becoming increasingly important contributors to the global knowledge and innovation. And looking ahead, the international collaboration will remain essential in addressing global challenges and advancing scientific discovery. So therefore, Thailand is warmly welcome. This is out to our British partner. All the partnership with university, research institute, and innovator across the globe. So together we can advance knowledge, drive innovation, and build a more sustainable future. And with this program, we hope Thailand University will be partnered with many universities and successfully in securing grants from abroad as part of our collaboration and widening the global presence as an innovative country. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Ratachat Mongkonawin from MHESI, to share with us on the policy direction of our ministry in Thailand on science, research and innovation. It is great to hear there are the area overlap with the UK as well. So the two countries have like the mutual interest, which will be very useful when you are applying for the grant, because many of the research grant that British Council managing is the co-development of the proposal between Thailand and the UK for the mutual benefit of the two countries. So that's great to hear. So we already listened from UK and Thailand perspective, and both the two speakers mentioned about regional connection and ASEAN as well. Now there are more grants that are available for the ASEAN country to bid together. So today we have Dr. Cholatit, who's the director of Simeo Raihet.
Thank you very much. I understand that. Good morning. I understand that I got 15 minutes. Okay, I'll be in that scope. I'm tasked to say something about the regional perspective beyond Thailand. I shall start with what are the priorities on higher education, science and research in ASEAN or Southeast Asian countries. As a group, ASEAN as a group, there's a lot of aspirations. For example, to be connected, ASEAN connectivity, or to be on top of the game in terms of the generative AI challenges. But when it comes to concrete programs or projects for university research, it's difficult to find the common priorities at the regional level. A lot of priorities is fall into the national priorities, like what you heard from Professor Ratachat, or in the case of Thailand, they got their own priorities. That is similar to other countries, and it depends very much on the direction of the country, the economic direction, the strategies of the country. For example, Singapore, very much on smart city stuff, those high tech for better living in this city state. For Indonesia, is on the blue economy, on those agriculture, sea life, those stuff, as well as catching up with the technology as well, and innovation and entrepreneurship. For Vietnam, is very much on the high tech stuff, ICT and AI. So it very much depends. Brunei, about tropical forest, environment, energy. Malaysia is very much on many things, such as food security, for example. So university research then will be divided, push and pull, according to each country's national priorities, and it's hard to find the common or a regional research program or plan. So that's the situation in this region right now. Secondly, I'd like to refer to some of the challenges, the future challenges to higher education in Southeast Asia regarding the science research and innovation. The future challenges, what I observe in the higher education sector in Southeast Asia, I would sum up like only one main challenges. It's about capabilities. It's about capabilities. Are we capable of tackling some applied research and transfer it to make it a useful stuff for solving some global problem? Are we capable of focusing on the research for social impacts? A lot of universities in Southeast Asia is very comfortable to do research on the theme that are related to the SDG stuff. Very, very comfortable, most comfortable. Part of the reason perhaps maybe to do something maybe related to those impact ranking stuff, that's part of the incentive, the drive. Another capabilities issue is, are we able to do more on the international aspects of the research, as well as the capabilities to do interdisciplinary research and form a cluster of different disciplines? Because nowadays a lot of global issues, regional issues and global issues is very much cross-border issues. Global problems need a global solution. And those global solutions can only come from interdisciplinary research that produce a solution to that global issue. So that's that's a question on our own capabilities. Another challenge in terms of capabilities is research. Research project is not about researcher or academia. It also involves a new breed of people, what we call research manager. Recently, there's a program under the ASEAN University Network collaboration with Japanese Kyoto University. They realized that in our region, we still lack the capabilities, both in terms of competence and in terms of personnel on those so-called research manager. In some countries, university professor must act in both roles as a researcher or principal investigator, as well as doing the job of the research manager, keeping receipts, doing procurement, connecting people, calculating the budget, doing the book, spending on the spending expenses. That beg a question on, do we really have research capabilities in terms of research management? That's another challenge. Another capability is, if we are talking about the international research collaboration, we cannot run away from English as a research common language. So, and apart from this, on top of this, now research community are facing another challenge, the so-called generative AI play a lot of role in your research. So, in short, I think the challenges will be focusing on our own capabilities in Southeast Asia. I'd like to end by talking about some of the opportunities for university in our university in research partnership. There's a lot of partnership opportunity if we would like to do the international research collaboration. For example, in engineering, we have a network of research cluster, not only with the Japanese, we also have with the Chinese. For example, myself and the AUN is working with Tianjin University in China to expanding the engineering research partnership, which is good because Tianjin want to focus on research only, not other activities like mobilities or those stuff. And there's also a network of private university in China doing the so-called the Geely Talent Development Group in China. Under that group, they have seven private universities. And in that group, nowadays, they are not talking about university-industry linkages. They don't use that term. The term they use is industry integration, meaning that their students, undergrad, postgrad, they're spending their time in the factory. Geely Group is doing the EV cars. For example, Japanese, I already mentioned, they are focusing on not only engineering, but on the capability building for research manager. I also like to recommend you search the organization called Access from the EU. They provide a lot of opportunity support, even grants to a researcher, particularly from the universities. I'm also working with them to open up more international collaboration for our university in the region. In conclusion, is sometimes we need to separate a different two levels of what we are talking about when we discuss research. Between the university level and the researcher level, the academic researcher level. That's the front line of the research collaboration. The university level, I perceive it as a supporting level, but being also a strategic focus point for the university. This is because when we talk about research collaboration, it's not only about the frontline work of the researcher, it's about how you manage research. Perhaps it's time back to Thailand. Perhaps it's time for Thai higher education institution to explore alternative model of how to be a university. For example, in Germany, they have the so-called University of Applied Science group, which is very interesting. For example, to be a lecturer or a professor in this kind of university, they don't accept fresh PhD graduates. They accept only a person who at least have 5-year experience in the industry. I end my talk with this kind of challenge. Perhaps it's time to rethink about the model of what is a university in Thailand. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Chalatit from Simeo Raihet, for sharing the regional perspective. So for the next two speakers, now we will listen directly from the researcher, and they will share with us their experience in applying for the research grant. So we have our speaker who joined us online and wait very patiently for his session. So Dr. Chaisri Angkura Waranon from Faculty of Medicine, Chiang Mai University. So may I invite Dr. Chaisri now to share his experience on research grant application.
Thank you very much ครับคุณอุไรวรรณครับสวัสดีทั้งอาจารย์ดร.ชาติอาจารย์ชลทิศคุณแปงนะครับถ้าพี่พันธ์ยังอยู่ก็สวัสดีทุกท่านครับก็ we are speaking I wasn't sure whether we speak in English or Thai. I wanted to speak in Thai, but we can do the English version, and then the researchers can come back to me for the more unedited Thai version. But hopefully I speak to you today not as a policy person or a university person, but from a researcher's point of view. So a little bit of my background. I am a medical doctor with training in family medicine, statistics, and epidemiology. I hold a couple of positions, but perhaps of interest to the group, more interest to the group today are my experience in international grants and particularly UK funding. So in the past 5 years or so, I've been fortunate enough to have received funding from the MRC, the National Institute of Health and Care Research, and also the FCDO. So all of this, I am either the PI or the co-PI, and you can see from the slides here that the value of funding received to our group is over £6 million for the project. So I will reflect to you a little bit about my personal views of what are the strengths and challenges when trying to apply and when trying to manage these international grants, especially from the UK. So I will share these slides. It could be busy, but I will go very short and then you can read off my slides. But again, just to touch off some of the strength already mentioned by the previous speaker is Thailand has multiple strengths. We are well trained. The data in Thailand is good. We have a good implementation network. We can be a hub for ASEAN and relatively compared to other countries, we provide a strong value for money in terms of capacity for research, scaling and learning across. However, there are multiple aspects that as a Thai researcher, when trying to apply for UK and international fundings, the different logic sometimes of similar but different logic of how you would write a proposal. For example, if you're used to writing for the PMUs in Thailand, it's introduction, background, rationale, objectives, methods, and budget. However, when you are writing for international grants, it becomes a little bit more wider focused. And also you have to make the science is only about 30 or 40% of your project. The other aspect, so the science is the problem, the gap, solution, learning, and impact. So we are used to similar terminology, but when we are trying to get international funding, it's why this problem matters globally, why it matters to the UK, for example, why are we in Thailand uniquely positioned to understand or tackle the issue. And then other speakers will talk about other aspects important to UK grants, such as gender equity, patient-public engagement, and value for money. So I will share my slides, but I'm giving you some rough examples of how we usually write and how usually we would have to reframe it to international funders. For example, I am giving you two examples, one in the basic sciences example, in the second, and one in the public health world, for example. Everybody wants to work on pollution. So if one researcher writes, you want to work with provincial hospitals to improve management of chronic disease affected by health, right? Or another researcher may write, okay, we want to study PM 2.5 and its chemical composition and conduct laboratory results. This is what we would normally write, for example, but to get the attention of international funders, we really have to think about why would people care about these topics internationally? What is new or learnable or transferable in the Thai setting? So I will have examples which I am putting on the slide here, and you can see later that from our usual sentence, we would have to reframe it depending on, of course, the call and the funder, and whether it could be learning focused, a global relevance focus, or a system framing focus on how we usually write. So it's a little bit different. So if you were to do basic science, for example, looking at PM 2.5, you would have to write more in terms of mechanistic findings or global transferability of why you're doing the basic science in Thailand, for example. So I will go very quick, perhaps better to answer questions, but I think this was also mentioned. So write for a non-technical reader, apply the global relevance to your topic sentence and your project throughout. The second thing is you have to write to the funder. As Kun Bank mentioned, every funder has their different objectives to why they need to fund. Right? Some people are more focused on health systems and learning. Some funders are more focused on the basic science, the hypothesis, and the methods. So again, in my slides, I give the same two examples, but I'm giving you different type and funding styles of funder. For example, if you're used to NIH in the Americans, they may be more interested in the hypothesis-driven types of question. If you've gotten Wellcome Trust, they're more interested in learning health systems or NIHR capacity building. So your job is to, although the science and what you want to do may not differ, you would have to write the sentence and frame your project differently according to the funder. So for example, in my slides, I give different examples of the same sentence of what you would like to do, but you can obviously reframe it to stress whether it be you want to stress the scientific methods of your project, the health system relevance of your project, or your capacity of the project. So again, the second takeaway is that funders will fund for different reasons, but not different experiments, right? So as scientists, your proposal technically does not have to change a whole lot, which is what also Kun Bang was saying, that you should have something in mind. And then you spend the rest of the time working on telling the story of what you would like to do. The last part of telling the story is often when we write, we are very focused on what experiments or activities we will do. However, in many international fundings, we have to put in why we are doing these experiments in your methods 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What will we learn from these experiments, or justify your methods of a particular methods? What are the contributions leading to it, right? So again, I give you examples of an activity-focused paragraph. For example, you are focused on delivering training workshops, developing and working with hospitals, for example. Then you'd have to make it into the learning and scientific contribution of what the dashboard is supposed to do, what the project is supposed to be useful for, right? I will not read this off, but I will just give you rough ideas and you can basically see a little bit. So here's another example on basic science that while you're interested in the composition of PM 2.5, however, you'd have to write about the learning of what is the learning and the scientific contribution that will lead from understanding the chemical compositions of PM 2.5, for example. So my third key message is that the activities itself, while we are used to writing it, it's not the key aspect when funders are looking at these. So I can also speak from experience as I am now. I do review for NIHR and also welcome. So I know a little bit about what they are looking for. So again, the publications in UK grants are not your output, but you have to say what are the insights and the learning that is being generated through your activities or experiments. So again, so a logic flow, when you begin these 2-day workshop, is commonly think of this framework, right? And no matter what funder, it usually allows follow this framework of the problem, the global relevance, what is the gap, what is your solution? Now this becomes your solution, right? Which is new or better, right? And then you have to defend why Thailand is unique, defend what others will learn from it and how it scales. So this will hopefully be your framework going forward in the next 2 days when we begin to do the workshop in more details. So again, I'm just summarizing some common pitfalls that we often see while I work with other Thai colleagues, for example. So we're very focused on getting Thai funding, so we don't write the global contribution as well. We are descriptive in what we do, right? But we don't usually defend why we do it, right? Why are we using this method? What will we learn and what we are generating and what is new? Is it cheaper? Is it better? Is it faster? You'd have to integrate all of that into your activities, right? Oftentimes we implement without theory, and that's especially in terms of theory of change and impact. So oftentimes you are right from your bedside activity, what will be your impact, right? And oftentimes there's often a theory to what drives these changes and contributions from results to real world impact. And oftentimes we don't map that very well into our proposal. Okay. And in UK funding, different from Thai funding, from my personal experience, is scale. The UK want to do very lower scale compared to Thai, compared to the money that we've gotten. So we can discuss offline if we are interested a little bit. But again, so starting from today, we should think about really, so what's the problem, what's the contribution, and what are the credible pathways? My last little 5 minutes, I will focus on the practical matters, as Ajahn Cholatit mentioned, is that sometimes we are researchers, but we're not investigators or grant managers. So there are a couple of things that I want to flag up now from my experience that you're interested in even getting application, what you would need to do, need to look at. So aside from developing the proposal, I'm just flagging up to you that you will need multiple approvals, whether that be due diligence, as also mentioned, I think by other colleagues here, the UK has a due diligence process. Getting letter of support, we are also one example from Kun Bank that we had a letter of support, but it was not on a letterhead. So the UK did not advance our proposal. So that was one painful example. There are some other requirements, also budgeting and finance on hires and costing. So you would have to understand all of that as soon as you begin to think about applying to the grant and when the call comes. Now, oftentimes they will ask for partners, whether it be Thai partners or local partners. Again, very quickly, you have to reach out. Oftentimes, they will also ask for letter of support from partner institutions. Oftentimes, it will be a hub and spoke or subcontract model where as your lead institution, you will have to understand the finance system of your partner. So if I have to work with Mahidol, Walailak, for example, I have to understand how your subcontracts work. Lastly, the nitty-gritty of oftentimes it's the budget, right? While the budget lines are similar, there's always a little bit of a difference between the Thai funding system and the UK funding system, also double check. So just to touch on Dr. Cholatit's point of view, is that leadership skill and management skill are not the same thing. So I would encourage many people to begin to look at your core skills right now, whether you are well equipped to do the management aspect, the strategic planning aspect, the securing funding aspect, the leadership, mentorship. So I have 3 tips for you. So one is you should begin by thinking about reframing your question. Oftentimes people will come in and see that I've gotten many grants. They will ask, how do we get funding? But my first question will always be, what do you want to do? Right? So what is it that you're trying to do before you even talk about how can I get funding, right? The second thing is oftentimes I would encourage you to think big, because anytime you write for international grants, it takes time, but no matter the small amount, so for me, 10,000 pounds or 3 million pounds, the same amount of time and resource writing it. So, but oftentimes you will not get it. So don't get discouraged, because once you've that grant written down, the science will usually be applicable to other applications. Also, many universities have university funding, FF funding, as well as SF funding in Thailand, so that you can take part of the work packages and apply for funding locally or nationally first. And then the next cycle comes, you can demonstrate that you've done the preliminary work for this. And if there are many early career researchers in the room today, my advice to you would be get involved. It doesn't in grants and international research as much as you can. It doesn't matter whether they align with your expertise. If you have the opportunity and if you've been invited, I would say, or encouraged to be part of a consortium, do get involved, because you get to learn all the other aspects that often grants that you don't get to learn very often. So instead of asking like, should I be involved in this grant, whether it's whether it's not your exact expertise, you should ask, if I'm invited to participate in these grants, what will I learn? What relationship will I develop, or what credibility, as UK often looks for track records in not only publication, but in management, leadership, and supervision of staff. So again, these are important tips as you begin. So I will not talk about the challenges once we've gotten money, because that's another maybe an hour talk. But I will stop here. So I am a product of the Thai UK Reinventing University project, the British Council, CMU. So I am happy to help and discuss with any Thai or UK partners who are interested in developing capacity in the country further. So thank you very much.
Another speaker, Dr. Enerline Griff from University of Derby. Dr. Enerline will be in the training team, will be with us in the next 2 days as well.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the session once again. We are from the delegation from the University of Derby, and alongside my colleagues, I would like to say thank you for the honor of taking part of today's session. And of course, we look forward to engaging with you in the next 3 days, 2.5 days now. And we'll get into a lot of the detail that was discussed here today. So My objective for this morning was not to get into those things, as you will definitely get a lot of that. You'll get your fill of that in the next 2 days. But I approached the session as I was asked to share lessons learned and my personal experience, more to think about what are the things that I would have loved to know before I started my journey to apply for grants and to really start engaging with the UK funding system. So I've boiled it down into 3 specific lessons learned, and they sort of build on one another. And then I'm going to finish off with a few quick fire lessons. Now, the previous speaker did a brilliant job alongside the rest of our panel to really start highlighting those elements that are explicitly important for us to take note. So what I'm going to do is think a little bit more about our approach generally, if that's okay, to finish off this morning's panel. So my first point of the 3 first elements that I would like to talk about that build on one another is to consider the fact that international research does not begin when the call for funding opens. International partnerships are hard fought for. They are things that take time to develop if they are truly significant enough to sustain an international bid. Superficial relationships that we build at the point of when we start to apply for funding gives over to superficial research, which gives over to superficial funding applications. So really ensuring that you take the time to create those lasting relationships that are there for the goal you want to achieve, not just the funding that you want to apply for, is exceptionally important. As the previous speaker said, you should take the time to think about transferability. And specifically, I would challenge you to think about the theoretical perspectives and methodologies, not just in terms of their intrinsic value to your research project, but how they travel across contexts. The second point that very narrowly aligns with this is to carefully consider how your research is positioned. International funded research is not a local project with international potential. It's not even a local project with international applicability. Rather, funded international research is research that represents manifestations of that larger global challenge that the previous researchers spoke about. So we should think about, in our positioning, how does our research fit into those wider discourses and scholarly conversations that focus on widespread impact, not just the research for the sake of itself. Now, we've spoken a lot about ecosystems, and our second speaker was exceptional in highlighting the importance of this for us. But I would also challenge us to think about the ecosystems of the contexts that the partnerships are made up of. It's that old systems theory adage, the whole is always greater than the sum of its parts. How does the combination of the UK and Thai partnerships equate to a bigger project that is worth more than just the UK and the Thai partnership on their own, even if they are taken into consideration together? So I suppose the lesson in this second point that I would like to make is to think about how your research is transposed, is critically altered by the fabric of your partnership itself. Now, closely aligned to that is my third point, and my third point is that it is about expanding the intellectual architecture of your study. Now, when I say intellectual architecture, I mean 2 different things. First of all, and as all of the panel members today have spoken to brilliantly, is the idea that research that is international is inherently more sophisticated than research that is local. It needs to be in order to carry the weight of that international partnership, to carry that weight of the international funding that we are bidding for. Now, obviously, secondly to this is the fact that your intellectual architecture of your study must be built on pillars, foundations of partnership. The foundations of the partnership that I'm talking about is to imbue your research proposal that becomes your funding proposal with the partnership so well that it is seen as the pillars upon which your study rests. It shouldn't be that your study is erected and you've just put up scaffolding of partnership around it. It should be the typical foundations of your study. That's what I mean by intellectual architecture. Further to this point, we should also consider that different contexts have different epistemological traditions. And we should position ourselves to propose the positive aspects of that, to show how the research is not only fundamentally changed, but fundamentally made positive and made feasible through the different epistemologies that underline it, i.e., the different ways in which we approach research strengthens the ultimate research that we produce because of the partnerships that we employ. So those are my three first points that build on one another. Now, apart from those 3 points, I thought that I would finish off with a few quick-fire lessons learned that I wish I would have known before I started on my journey in research funding. The first one is to think about and position yourself for credible delivery. So articulate the obstacles and solutions to systemic compatibility challenges. That is what your feasibility is. As researchers, we are so used to aligning our research to a point where we think and articulate to show how our research is thought-provoking. But when it comes to international funding, we need to move from thought-provoking to thought-through. We need to show that we've thought about every single element that might pop up and how we would overcome that. We need to answer the questions of the reviewers before they ask them. Secondly, we need to consider that sometimes our successes in research funding comes not from those absolutely perfect funding opportunities. Sometimes they come from the places that you least expect. So don't wait for that ultimate golden opportunity before you start applying for funding. Similarly, and of course, don't try and fit your research into a call for funding that does not align. That simply won't be successful. But also, don't wait for that one golden, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The more you get out there, as the previous speaker said, the higher your chances are of success. Now, very closely related to that, also make sure that you build agile projects, meaning that your projects can scale up for bigger funding bids, but also scale down and become a little bit more leaner for those bids that perhaps require that kind of scope. So if you have an agile project that can be protracted towards the bigger funding bids and then contracted towards the perhaps more specifically positioned smaller grants, those projects can be quickly shifted over into one another. Fourth, and this one impacts me every day still, we need to get really, really comfortable with rejection. As academics, this is a hard truth for us to face because we did not sort of get to where we are by being at the bottom of the class. So this is something that we still struggle with, but get comfortable with rejection. It's part and parcel of the process. And those of us who are in the room who are responsible for research centers and perhaps for research communities within our own organizations, I implore you to truly unshame the concept of rejection. Through speaking about the elements of rejection, what we've learned, and how we can improve towards the future is how we build a community that supports one another to success and does not fall by the first hurdle. Lastly, and this one I will leave you with, is the idea of leading with value, not with visibility. As researchers, we are so comfortable with showing and articulating how our research was published in the best journals, how we delivered at this or that conference. We show visibility of research, but now we are challenged to lead with value, not visibility. So as the previous speaker said, it's about impact. So your challenge is to look at your impact footprint and articulate that to your funders. I thank you so much for today, and I look forward to spending the rest of this week with you. On behalf of my colleagues and the rest of the delegation of the University of Derby, thank you once again for having us.
Thank you very much for Dr. Eric and all the speakers for today. So now I think we have some time for Q&A. So please feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions to the panels. There are a lot of information this morning to digest as well. But yeah, if you have any question, feel free to raise your hand. Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a question for the British Council. If there's any session that will happen to help facilitate the matching of centers, research centers, or faculty.
And to add from British Council, because we always receive this question from academic and researcher, we not do matchmaking activity, but what we do is to provide platform for Thai and UK university to meet. Sometimes we do the event in the UK, invite UK university and Thai university, and we have like the speed dating 20-minute discussion, or sometimes we have delegation from the UK to Thailand, so we can support you to meet with the potential partners. Maybe, yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the very useful talk this morning. And I have a few questions. As the British Council have to work with MHESI, so I'm not sure for the committee gonna go from like 100% from UK part, or also partner the ratio of the score from Thai part as well.
So you mean the scoring?
Right. From the grant.
For the grant. Yes. For many of British Council grant, we work with Thai partners and we co-fund with PMU and organization under MHESI as well. In the selection process, we do it like a joint committee. So we have UK reviewers who give the score, and we also have the expert from Thailand as well to review the application. So to make sure that it responds to both Thai and UK requirement. So that the reviewer for the co-funding grant.
Thank you very much.
MHESI would like to add anything?
Yeah, now just echo on Kun Uraiwan. Yeah, we do have experts in joint review of all the proposal. I think the system that the British granting agency are using are very thorough. So basically, all the comments and all the scoring are very transparent, I think, and I think just to assure you that everything is going to be done very professionally, and it's on the merit of the proposal itself that's been through, suggested by some of our successful researcher that's went through the grant.
So thanks a lot for a nice presentation this morning. So actually I have two questions. I just want to know that which side is going to be a referee, just a British side or Thailand?
Yeah, it depends, but for the joint program, yeah, we have from both Thailand and UK.
Okay. So depending on the funding, right? Depending on the grants, right?
Depends on the grant, because sometimes there's a joint grant between the ministry and the British Council, so we have a joint committee. But then what we try to encourage is for the partnership to go out and attracting international funds.
Okay.
So then there will be a different committee altogether. So that's a different.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think it's lunchtime now. So British Council would like to thank very much for all our panelists today, and also Dr. Chaisri, who joined us online as well. Thank you very much for your participation this morning. So we have a lot to discuss more this afternoon and in the next 2 days. So I will now hand it back to Kun Justin.
Okay, so thank you so much. So I know that we are all waiting for lunch, but in the meantime, would you mind take a group photo together, please, for this first panel? Oh, หมายถึงให้พี่แบงค์หยิบมาระหว่างให้เราแล้วก็อาจารย์นี่อินบิทวีนครับโอเค thank you so we want everybody to be included in the photo. Okay. Another picture with the participant, please. Circle down over here and just stand here. Do you have picture over to that way? Okay, just stand. Yeah, just stand behind this screen. Okay, and we'll take your picture back. Everybody look at the camera in front. Okay. So it is now time for our lunch break. So we will have a break and we will come back starting the next session at 2 p.m. The lunch, we have provided your coupon during registration, and the lunch will be an international buffet on the second floor of the hotel. It will be the square room. So please don't miss the next session and enjoy your break. Thank you so much.